Fuck it. Welcome back, everybody. First old bollocks of 2024. And it's episode number whatever.
The third year we've been doing this now.
Is it really?
Yeah, because
Which
I think the first episodes were in 2022. I think
that
maybe
makes this the second year.
no, we're into the third year. You know what I mean? Like
right. Okay.
we're
Okay.
starting
If
our third year, something like that.
Well, yeah, okay, fine. Well, yeah, having celebrated 10 years in January, I'm awash with anniversaries at the moment.
Yeah,
God, I can't believe it. Honestly, I really can't. I can't believe we've been doing this like 2 years. Never mind the fact that I've been podcasting for 10 years. It's just mad.
yeah.
Absolutely mad. But anyway, cool. I've got 5 albums to talk about. Woohoo!
Yeah,
Yeah.
I only have three, let's not fuck around. Before
Yeah.
we get to albums, we have to talk about the new Kerry King song.
Do we though?
We do. It's
Oh yeah. I think
just
I know. I
because
think I might know what's coming.
just because there, from my point of view, there's already going to be a lot of people asking me what I think, and I'll just be able to point them to this video and be like, just go, minute 2 or 3, and let's talk about
Okay.
it. So he released his first song, and his band is, that's a fucking good collection of musicians right there.
Absolutely.
Phil Demmel and what's his name, Paul from the second Slayer drummer. And then of course Mark from Death Angel on vocals,
Legend.
So that's the one thing about it to me that was a good pull, getting Mark from Death Angel, because he fucking rules, and so does Death Angel. And so I was interested going into it. I'm like, all right, this is, whatever, because I was not looking forward to this at all. I was just like, whatever, I'll listen to it. And first off, I was not surprised by anything that I heard. Not necessarily.
And I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that you weren't surprised, because I wasn't surprised either. I don't think the word surprise is in Kerry King's lexicon anymore.
No. And not only that, I wasn't even very excited about it. For a song that I think is only about 4 minutes long, I really stopped listening about halfway through. But to be fair, the whole band sounds great. Mark's a great vocalist, but he is doing a little bit of a Tom Araya in there. And I don't know if that's because Kerry told him to do that, or if that's just kind of how it came together. But
agreed.
That's the thing, is that this is another example of like what's going on in thrash, where this sort of ho-hum thrash song comes out and everyone's like, album of the year. And I'm just like, what are you guys, what is going on? Because it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's a fun thrashy metal song, but it's just like, I feel like, I say this a lot these days, especially because of the advancement of the technology, but I feel like it could have been created by AI. Like, can you create an AI Kerry King Slayer-ish song with these dudes playing, and then that's the song that would come out? And so it's just kind of underwhelming, but at the same time, exactly what I expected. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah. Well, I think the best comment I've seen is Andrew O'Neill, who's a UK metal comedian, tweeted out a picture of the logo and said, "I'd just like to wish Kerry King all the best in his Metal to the Masses heat for Bloodstock," because it's virtually this. It's like bizarre. It's very similar. I'll send you the logos. You will see.
Okay.
But I echo everything you've said. Apart from, I was like, oh right, it's out, cool. And I've said elsewhere pretty much the same things, which is a bit of a Tom Araya tribute, but not quite. It's Mark being Mark, but he's always had that ability to be a bit Araya-y. And when you're singing over Kerry King stuff, I know how he'd feel. I'd want to do it. You got to feel that. It is an uneventful, It's an uneventful, uninspiring tune. The only thing I'd say is that I've played it twice, and that's it. I'm not going to be playing it anymore. I want to hear it in the context of an album, because that way I can truly judge it. Because uneventful, unmemorable, uninspiring. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I never thought I'd hear middle of the road Slayer, but if anything, that's what it is. But I'm resisting the temptation to sort of be, whoa, fucking hell, what the fuck is this? Rubbish. Look at who he's got there. And because I don't know, you can accuse Kerry King of many things, but he's not stupid. He knows what he's doing. And I don't see how that lineup fails across an album.
No.
There may be peaks and valleys, and this might be one of the valleys. We say peaks and troughs in the UK, but I say peaks and valleys now because it's just everywhere. And we live in a society where the word trough is rapidly going out of fashion. What? It doesn't matter. Very, very similar. You can, in fact, I think I might take a leaf out of your book and say, if you want to know what I think, and by the way, some guy lives in the States who you don't know, but if you want to know what I think, listen to what he thinks, because it's what I think, and then I say what I think afterwards, but it's pretty much what he thinks. We both think the same thing.
The one thing I kept thinking when I heard the song was that, and I know this is kind of a dumb idea probably, but I'm all like, the only way I would be really interested in this is if he did like a Probot kind of thing where he had a different vocalist on every song, and he just used his clout to get all these like legendary vocalists, because I would at least enjoy that. But that being said, it's
tour that.
You can't tour that. But also, like, I just looking at the lineup, like, I can't be mad at the lineup that he has. Yeah. So, whatever.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. It's kind of like you look at that lineup, it's Kerry King. He's no idiot. I'm just kind of thinking, do you know what? If the album's shit, I'll be the first to say so, because I will be disappointed, because I will be like, dude, this is not a fitting way to continue your career. This is like it. But what I'm expecting is a half decent album that when it's good, it's really fucking good. And you just go like, wow, yeah, that's a great song. That's a great song.
Yeah.
But I'm expecting less of the album to be like that,
Yeah. I agree.
Peaks and valleys,
Well, we'll see. When it comes out, we will review it.
Well, won't we just? And we will both see, and we will both probably agree on it, which will be a great fucking listen.
Yeah. But let's get into the meat of it though, because since you have 5, let's start with one of yours.
Okay, well, I really hope that none of my 5 are one of your 3.
They're not. Trust me, the 3 I'm talking about, I'm pretty sure you're not. So.
Oh right. You're deliberately you're just trying to expand my views, are you?
I literally just picked the 3 albums I'm the most excited about, and that's what I'm talking about. So
right, okay. So well, mine first album is the PetroDragonic Apocalypse, or Dawn of Eternal Night. I'm reading this word for word. An annihilation of planet Earth. Yeah, I managed to get all that.
I had to check my watch during that.
yeah, and it's by King Gizzard and King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Okay. If you had said the band name first and then started reading the title, I'd been like, okay, that's on brand.
There you go. Exactly. Now, you look, despite the album title and everything else, I think I gave him a shout out in my albums of the year last year. They didn't make it into. I hadn't had it long enough. I'm absolutely loving it. There are points in the album where it's like they're doing a tap dance on my head. It's like, it's like I'm being pushed more and more to be able to keep up. Come on, we've got tons of ideas here. Don't fucking slack off. You know what I mean? It just keeps coming. And there are parts of it where it is, and this is a compliment, where it most reminds me of Undertow by Tool, because it's except it's kind of blended with the prog that Tool were yet to find on that album. So
this is interesting. I have not heard this album yet, and knowing all the different sounds that this band can pull off, and hearing that, I'm like, okay, now I got to go listen to this, because that's fascinating.
Yeah. Well, there's an 8-minute track on the latest edition of Radio Bollocks on my Patreon. Kids, remember to sign up there. And there are no weak spots on this album for me. Some songs are longer than others. Some are shorter than others. All of them are crammed with so many cool ideas. And there are times where, when Tool do that thing where they stop and it's just the guitar playing one riff and it's just cool as hell.
Mm-hmm.
This happens so many times on this album where you're like, how can I describe it? When you're watching a movie and you go, and the movie is just kind of nodding, going, hey, this is a little bit of a homage to that movie. And you think, and they do it, and you think, yeah, you shouldn't have done that. I wish I was watching that movie, because your movie's not as good.
Yeah.
Well, when I hear on this album, when I hear that one guitar on its own, I don't think, oh, that's a Tool tribute. I want to go and listen to Tool now. I hear it and I go, yeah, why don't Tool sound like this anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's like, oh yeah, I fucking like this album. It's fucking insane. But also it's not, as much as I'm describing it, it's very metal in places, but at times the production is nodding more towards sort of Queens of the Stone Age, Songs for the Deaf kind of sound. That kind of, the guitars aren't as cutting as you would expect in metal. But then again, that's kind of Tooly as well.
Yeah, they did like a thrash album, and it was the same thing where the production wasn't all like metalish. It was like their kind of production with thrashy type songs. So
and I liked that album, and that was the first time I became aware of them.
Okay,
this album is just like, there's just so much to like about it, and there's so much music. I mean, it is.
Not just on that album, from that band. If you try to get into that band, good luck. You get to clear your schedule for quite a while. Yeah.
That's a really good way of putting it. Yeah, clear your schedule. I mean, and yeah, there is a song on this album which I absolutely love, and it's 8 minutes and 10 seconds, and it's like, I can't remember the last time. Well, actually, I can remember Haken. But yeah, it's a song called Motor Spirit. And it's 8 minutes and 32, sorry. What a tune. What a tune. And there is so much to like on this album. And there are, there's short songs, long songs, but there's interesting songs, but there is no dull songs. There's no boring songs. So anyway,
I was going to find it on Apple Music just because I was curious about the album cover. And I'm like, that's great.
Is it just?
But they already put out another album after that called The Silver Cord.
You're fucking kidding me.
That's how, I'm telling you, that's how this band works. They put out multiple albums in a year.
You're kidding me. Fucking hell. I mean, I knew that they were rapid, but I didn't realize they'd put out a fucking another album after this already.
According to looking at my Apple Music, okay, some of these are singles, but they might be like really long ass songs. Yeah, they are. In 2022 they put out like what looks like 6 different releases, but the album that I got the album I got into them on was called Nonagon Infinity, and it's from 2016, and that one's very like garagey kind of, but all the songs are connected, and they made the album to where it begins and ends the exact same spot. So if you put it on repeat, it literally is just a song that never stops playing. And I was like, nice. That's pretty fucking cool.
Oh yeah, I like that. And you've just sorted it for me. This is basically, this album is by Tool, the Garage Band.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. This is Garage Band Tool prog. And by the way, there's also more to it than that. So,
yeah.
You know, this is not just a band aping Tool. They're far better than that. And they're far more worthy of that. But yeah. And that cover just like makes you want to go out and buy a fucking lizard as a pet, basically.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Very cool. So there you go. That's my first.
Sweet. Yeah, that's great, because like I purposely, like, they'll put out music and I'll go, I don't want to listen to it right now, because like they're a band that like I'm on the cusp of getting really into, and when that happens, I'm spending money. And so I'm like, look, King Gizzard, just wait a little while. I'll get there. But let's move on to like from a band that has a shitload of shit to a pretty new band, and this is their debut album. I only have my vinyl for 2 of these because one of them is still en route. So I apologize to all the podcast listeners because they can't imagine me holding all the records. But
that's right. There'll be nothing to imagine on
this one. This one I've got. This is a band from Canada called Dissimulator, and this is their first album, which is called Lower Form Resistance. And they are a technical, they call it technical death thrash. The only reason they use the word death is because the vocals are kind of guttural. But the music is technical thrash, a little bit of proggy, but mostly just kind of very technical. You might be into this because you were really into Cryptosis. There's things about that remind me of Cryptosis or Vector or bands like that, but these guys it's an insane album. It is just one of those albums that it's chock full of really imaginative thrash riffs, and the songs don't really stay still very long. Even the ones that are like 7 minutes long still kind of go all over the place, and amazing musicianship. Like, it is really good, to the point where like I was trying to find out, like, were these guys in other bands before, and I couldn't find anything. So I don't think that they were, but they sound like guys that they have the chops, But it's just an amazing. These first 2 records I'm talking about are already contenders for top 10 of the year, because there's this. It's such a strong debut album that and it's one of those things where, like, whatever words I'm saying, you just got to go listen to it, because if any of those things connect with you, it is very technical thrash metal with guttural vocals, but it's one of those that makes me feel lazy as a guitar player and a songwriter, because I'm just like, all right, well, I guess I probably, if I write a song, my songs are about 1/8 of what they're doing. So I'm just, but it's a great album. I'm just going to knock my microphone all over the place. Lower Form Resistance is the name of the album, and Dissimulator is the name of the band.
Well, do you know what interests me about that? What kind of double interests me about that is the fact that it is a Canadian band. So like right out the gate, I'm like, right, yeah, Canadian, you know how that is.
Yeah. But the good thing about it is that even though I say Canadian and I say technical thrash, it doesn't have Voivod vibes. It's beyond that. It's but the bands that I mentioned, especially Cryptosis, there are riffs in this that really remind me of that last Cryptosis record, which is one of my favorites of the year. So if that shows you, I really like that thrash metal where I'm just like, wait, what the fuck did they do? And go back to it again. Yeah, that's I have fun with those albums.
Oh, who doesn't love that, mate? Who doesn't love that?
People that are into the new Kerry King, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, look, let them have their moment. Let them have their moment where they think that, because, ultimately, once the excitement of a new song being out has left them, I'm sure they'll be like, yeah, okay, hope the rest of the album's not like this.
I mean, maybe so.
So, next up from me is, if you are a Christian in any way, then you definitely will not like the band Cancer Christ and their new album, God is Violence. Now, I'm sure you've already gathered why you won't like Cancer Christ. This album is lyrically as brutal as it gets. I want to include one of the songs is God Bless the Rapists, and one of the lyrics is, I want to comfort you, I want to come in you.
Oh wow. So, okay, they're pulling no punches.
Yeah, that classic is 180. That classic is 1 minute and 18 seconds long. I mean, let me read out some song lengths here: 1 minute 38, 2:26, 1:51, 1:10, 1:25, 1:18, 28 seconds, 20 seconds, 47 seconds, 2 minutes and 48, 2:30. You get the idea. There's 20 songs on this motherfucker.
And I've heard this album. Let's not forget to mention the album cover.
Well, I'm kind of looking at it now and I'm like, yep, they've gone for it. Basically, it is God chewing a shotgun, blowing his own brains out.
Yeah, I'll have it in the video for anyone watching the video. But like, it's one of those things where it does what it says on the tin, as they say. Like, it's
without a doubt. But the thing is, right, that I've read you some. I've sort of mentioned some of those lyrics and some of the song some of the song titles. God hates cops, the blood of Jesus. God made me do it. Jesus got a big old cock.
Yeah.
Now, all of this could sound like it's a bit juvenile. That these guys are a bunch of idiots and they're just like poking fun at religion. And it's an easy target. But their videos are fucking amazing. Check them out on Instagram, because like, you may have even seen some of the clips from some of their videos without even knowing it. They're all insane. They mean it. It's really well done.
Yeah,
these are clearly in, there's a level of intelligence behind the lyrics that I don't think some of the song titles actually do the songs justice, because you read down the track listing and you do think it's a bit juvenile, it's just people fucking about. It's a really, really good record.
Yeah.
It's a fucking level of intensity that you're going to struggle to find anywhere else, and it's on point. It's on theme. There is at no point do you think that, they're just doing this for shock value. No, not at all. They're a joke band. No, not at all. They don't know what they're doing. No, not at all. It's hardcore. It is really well done, well played. And if you're into blasphemous hardcore, then
I mean, I'm just gonna say, like, I listened to it just because I saw the album cover. So if the idea of Jesus blowing his brains out on an album cover is your kind of thing, then there you go.
Yeah, I guess that sums it up, really. Yeah, I mean, if that image appeals to you, then I think the music will do. But look, that aside, if you like hardcore, if you like short, sharp shocks of music, then Cancer Christ are the band for you.
Yeah,
we fully endorse Cancer Christ.
I will. Yeah, I'm backing you up on that. I very much enjoyed that album.
Good.
So I love that you went there because we're going to go the completely opposite direction because
Oh, right. Okay.
my next one, which is another contender for my top 10 of the year, is not metal at all. There's no metal in it whatsoever.
Oh my
Um,
God. Should it even be allowed on this show?
yes, I've talked about non metal albums before.
I know, but I told you off about that.
I'm a rebel, all right. I don't
Yeah.
need rules. So this is the second solo album from Jay Robbins, who was in the band Jawbox. That was his back in the '90s. He was the main guy from Jawbox. If you don't,
Jawbox. Can
yeah,
I just on behalf of everybody who doesn't know who Jawbox were, please help us out.
they were a post-hardcore Discord band from the '90s. One of the biggest. They were
Right.
major label. They were one of those bands that were
Ah,
a
right. Okay.
Discord band that got on major label for a couple albums. Real sort of angular riffs, but it's that post-hardcore melodic where there's the punky edge, there's the melodic edge, there's the starts and stops and the odd riffs and stuff that feel kind of odd and strange, and then sung to shouty vocals, all that shit. That was Jawbox. Jawbox is one of the greatest bands of all time. They broke up. Well, I mean, they're still together like as a touring band, but they haven't put anything new out in a while. But Jay Robbins, who's the mastermind behind it, and he's a producer who produces all kinds of really great sounding records. He's over the years just been doing random bands that sometimes will do an album or two and then he moves on to something else. But now he's just decided I'm just going to do solo albums, and this is his second one, which is called Basilisk. Basilisk. There you go.
For you, say.
And it is yeah, it is really great songwriting, but it still is the melodic hardcore slash post-hardcore, post-punk, that kind of thing. And he still sounds like he did in the 90s, and it's still got those riffs that I'm just like, that's cool as fuck. But then they're like I said, they're not metal, but if it's like it's just a really great album, and he's just such a great songwriter, not just in the like everything. I'm a big fan of melodic vocal lines that kind of go in different places that you don't expect, and he's really big on those. And then on top of that, really big on adding these discordant style guitar melodies that feel kind of odd and weird, but also at the same time go perfectly with this song. And so I've just been a huge fan for many, many years, since the mid '90s when I got into them, to Jawbox. And so but I'm blown away at just like somebody that's been in the game that long doing this high of a quality of songwriting, performances, production, because the dude just knows what he's doing. So it's got a very organic sound to it, but it's just great. And it's I would have been perfectly fine with Jay Robbins putting out stuff where I was just like, it's pretty good. I just like hearing him do some stuff. But he actually his two solo albums have both been albums where I'm just like, holy shit, man, he's still got so much left in the tank that it's very exciting. And so yeah, that's Jay Robbins' Basilisk. I said it right that time.
Yeah, you're bringing the off the beaten path stuff in this episode, without doubt.
I mean, for me, it's not. Well, that specifically is not. But the other two, yeah. But they also hit the mark for things that I truly enjoy. But that's how like I am. Like I don't. That's why like I can never just stick to talking about metal on my channel, because I would be lying to everybody if I said, all I listen to is thrash and death metal all the time, because that's not what I do. And I also think that it's important to like bring up these different albums to an audience, because you never know, like somebody could get into this kind of music not realizing that, oh yeah, there's this other music that really does it for me, and it isn't necessarily brutal and aggressive. So it's just me, speaking my truth, as they say. So that's
living your best life, baby.
Yeah, absolutely.
Preach.
So yeah. But don't worry. My next one, we're gonna get heavy again.
Well, I'm gonna go like bring it back to the mainstream, or mainstream-ish anyway. Defectum Omnium, which is the new album from Exhorder,
which I've heard this one as well.
Yeah, which I know you've had, and my interview with Kyle Thomas, vocalist, actually came out today on Talking Bollocks. Spoke to him at the weekend, and I mean, this album caught me by surprise. I think it's a vast improvement on their comeback album. For me, the comeback, which was fine, but it didn't make me go, oh yeah, more of this, please. It was kind of like, oh, it's good they're back, and there's some good songs on it, but that's kind of it. Whereas with this album, I'm like, oh, right, okay. So this is matured. This is all different. There's different styles here. There's different grooves. There's like, fuck it, let's do a hardcore song. Right, okay, let's do a 7-minute chugger. Right, let's do, and also, up until now, I didn't realize that Kyle was a fan of Ronnie Dio, but listening to this album, I was like, oh, hello. I'm hearing some Dio influences in there, which we end up talking about on the interview, but don't go and listen to that just yet. And I've listened to this album like 4 or 5 times now, and each time I'm getting a song where I'm going, oh, right, that one's peeking through now. Yeah, right. I like that. That didn't jump out straight away. Oh, now this one is. And yeah, really, really enjoying it. And when I saw it arrive, I was like, oh, cool. I didn't even know they were working on a new album. That, oh yeah, okay, right, okay, yeah, no, I must give that a listen. And straight away, I was just like, oh, this is good. This is better than I was expecting. Right, okay. And it's kind of snuck up on me. And I'm liking it more and more and more. And I knew I liked it as soon as I heard it. But yeah, just 55 minutes as well, which I kind of like. There's a lot of music in there, and I just think you can hear the work that they've put in on this. You really can. Yeah, really enjoying it. What are your thoughts?
I'm not into it. It's exactly how I feel about the Kerry King song. It's very well done, kind of bland. A lot of these older thrash bands, present company excluded, are all kind of blending into the same band. They all kind of sound like the same band now. And the thing when I heard this album that I thought was really interesting, because I wasn't into their comeback album that much either, but the one thing that I really enjoyed about that one was that every once in a while there would be these cool riffs, which is what I liked about the band back in the day, was there would be these riffs and I'd go, oh, fuck yeah. Those riffs are pretty much missing now. They're all kind of bland, but so I went to go, what's changed in the band? Oh, the dude that didn't play guitar now plays guitar, and everybody else in the band is fucked off. So it makes sense now that whoever was writing the cool riffs is no longer in the band, I guess. Not that they're bad riffs. There's really nothing bad about this album. That's the thing that's frustrating me about a lot of the modern thrash, even from younger bands, is that there's so much of it where I go, yeah, it's fine. And I don't want to be that way about music. I don't want to say it's fine because that's why I'm not talking. That's why I didn't have this album on my list, because
Yeah.
there's nothing exciting about it at all. But it's definitely not bad. And I'm pretty sure, if I saw this right, Pat O'Brien from Cannibal Corpse is in the band now.
That's right.
And that dude's a great guitar player. And so I think Exhorder is a great, for people that just love their thrash no matter what. I think that they're going to really be into the Exhorder album, because it is very well done. The one song that like I really found myself enjoying, I think when you're talking about Dio, you're referring to this one particular song. It's a more of a slower tempo, and he does a whole lot of really great singing on it. And I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm into this. But then that's not that's not thrashy. That's not the thrash song or whatever, you know?
No, not at all.
But I mean, so it's got a nice variety of songs. It sounds good, well performed, but that's kind of where it ends for me. So, but you know, I'm kind of I think I am a very tough customer with thrash metal these days.
Well, I think that the song you're talking about is Defectum Omnium, which is the title track.
Yeah.
Hey, as always, respect your opinion. You're wrong, but I respect your opinion.
I'm sure a lot would agree with you.
No, there's no. That's the beauty with music, with any of this, isn't it? There is no wrong. There's no right. There is just opinion.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. But you know, thank you. Thank you for your opinion.
Yeah.
So you're going heavy again. You're going heavy.
Yeah.
What have you got for me this time? Come on.
All right. This is another band I'm sure you don't know, which is funny because like they're not a new band. They've been around since around 2013 or whatever. But they're a death metal band from California called Dipygus, Dipygus, Dipygus. And this is the album is self-titled. It's called Dipygus, even though it's their third or fourth album, because their album they brought out last year was considered kind of a mini album, even though it's by a thrash metal album standard, it would be an album, but it's death metal, so it's considered a mini album. But now it's a proper third album, I guess. And they are their name is very fitting, because when you hear the name Dipygus, you're just like, what the fuck? And it's like a lot of very sludgy, ugly sounding death metal. Not necessarily, I wouldn't say the word.
Oh, he's really brutal. Selling it.
Yeah. It's because it's not like overly produced and in your face. But it's got like a real sludgy, just like a death metal band playing in a bog or something, you know. It's like, it's very
right. Yeah, I know what you mean. That sort of Scandinavian kind of quality to it. I always think like straight out the gate you can hear whether a death metal band is like Scandinavian or not, because there's a guitar tone that lives in the woods.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
These fuckers, like, you know, just seem to kind of go, it's like, if you're not Scandinavian, you can't get that guitar tone.
Yeah. And with Dipygus, you know, California band. So you take that idea and the sort of occasional like odd riffs that they throw in, it really, like, the best, without, you know, yeah, there's no other way to say it. It makes me feel like death metal for weirdos. Like, it just has so many odd qualities, but you can't call it like progressive or anything like that. It's just this death metal that exists in this odd area where, you know, if you don't regularly listen to death metal, that's kind of all you're going to get out of it, is like, oh, there's the growly vocals and the low tune, you know, riffs. But it is like, it is kind of like, you know, when you listen to it, sometimes you feel like a bit tipsy because it's the riffs are just so, but it's so great because it connects with me in a way where I'm just like, man, I love heavy music when I hear it and I go, where the fuck did this come from? Like, where did this riff idea come from? Or even lyrically, I'm like, where did all this come from? Because it just, you know, I like the idea of, you know, I don't know much about the band, but it makes me feel like just a group of people who are all like, yeah, we're all fucking weird. Let's start a band. And then they started a death metal band. And that's what it sounds like. It's just, it's the kind of death metal that isn't going to be enjoyable even to some death metal fans. If they're into like sort of straightforward shit,
Yeah.
this is going to be a little bit too sludgy and odd for those people. But I very much enjoy it. And that's Dipygus.
Well, do you know what? I was going to go somewhere else with my next album, but instead I'm going to go to a death metal album. The last thing you'd expect me to bring up, because as I've said many times, I'm kind of into Death, the band, but death metal as a thing, not really. Having said that, one of my favorite albums last year was As in Hell. Impy Horror, which is still one of the worst album titles of the year as well. And that's fucking great. But I was actually chatting to Dave from Morta Skuld.
Oh yeah.
The other day. The album is Creation Undone. Now, I am going to have to say at this point, full disclosure, within the first couple of minutes of the interview, I found out that he's a big Acid Rain fan. It was
really?
Straight off. He was like, what, the Acid Rain? Like from back in the 80s? And I was like, yeah. He was like, well, before I was in Morta Skuld, I was in a crossover band, and we like played your first two albums like all the time. And I was like, oh, I like this guy.
Yeah.
So it's Morta Skuld. The album is Creation Undone. Now, I'm not a big death metal fan.
Mm-hmm.
There was something about this album as soon as I started playing it, I was like, this isn't typical. For a start, the production is nicely old school.
Yeah.
You know, sonically pleasing, but also nicely old school, as in the bass is a little bit too loud at times, you know, which is classic old school production, you know, where it's like, quick, get the bass right up the front.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Now put it away again. And there's just, there's a song in it called Oblivion. And the first time I heard that, I was kind of like, right, okay, that's barely death metal at all. And it's in a higher register. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of this, some of the album is, great, fan pleasing, down the middle, straight between your eyes, death metal.
Yeah.
But there's also enough stuff going on there that's not that at all for people like me who aren't that into death metal to go, yeah, that's cool. I like that. I like that a lot. A refreshing amount of lyrics not being about people dying or getting chopped up or or vengeance or monsters or any of that. And also a refreshingly sparse use of the blast beat, which I think some death metal bands just seem to think, we can't have a song without it.
Yeah.
And they have been around since the 90s. They've been around a long fucking time. And I was, absolute full disclosure, I was completely unaware of them entirely. And I kind of feel like I need to go and do a little bit of digging through the old back catalogue now, because I've found this album incredibly pleasing, and I genuinely haven't played it as much as I'd like to because there's stuff going on. But I'm looking forward to getting even more into it. That's Morta Skuld, Creation Undone, out soon, out this month, I do believe.
Yeah.
And Exhorder is out soon as well. We should have mentioned that, shouldn't we? Just because we've got those albums doesn't mean they're out. You know what I mean? Hey, because we're plugged in, Yeah, exactly. Special in a sort of way that you don't want to be special.
Special needs, as they say over there.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, Morta Skuld, Creation Undone, a death metal album that Howard likes. So there you go. That's 2 in 2 years.
That that
I'm on a
is
roll.
that is true. The only other death metal thing I remember you positively reviewing was that last 200 Stab Wounds single that came out. You were into that as well.
Actually, no. As in Hell, and also I've also just remembered Vomitory as well.
Oh yeah. So yeah. So
Which,
you know, you dip your toe into some death metal every once in a while. Yeah.
There's hope for me yet. Now let's end on a thrash band coming back who haven't put an album out for nearly 30 years and have got a fucking clown on the cover. Hey, oh, come on! This is right. This is I know. Yeah, that's an awesome confused look you have.
Because I'm just like, what is this we're talking about?
What we're talking about is the new album called Asylum by Atrophy.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've heard this one yet.
There we go, viewers.
Asylum. I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, I'll be putting up the album cover, but yeah.
Yeah, there's the clown.
That is not a great album cover, but hey.
Well, funny you should say that. Look, I feel like I'm on kind of thin ice, dodgy territory here. Because as I've already referenced, obviously this is a old school thrash band coming back that it's the kind of one where you go, oh, they're back. Great.
Yeah.
Is it great? Yeah, cool. Were they any good first time round? I can't remember. and to be fair, I'm sure, and full honesty here, I'm sure there's tens, not hundreds of thousands of people that thought that when they saw Acid Rain were bringing a new album out in 2019. So I absolutely get that. Okay.
Yeah.
I am absolutely aware that I could be talking about my own band here. Right. But that's just how I feel about, so I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Let's see, Let's see. Come on. Atrophy. Bring it home. Join the club. Come on, smash it. And they have smashed mediocrity right in the face.
Nice.
I mean, there is, song titles: Punishment for All, High Anxiety, Seeds of Sorrow, Distortion, Bleeding Out, American Dream, Close My Eyes, The Apostle, 5 minutes. Well, 5 minutes till, actually. Not 5 minutes alone, 5 minutes till. So, 5 minutes. I wish that song was called 5 minutes till I'm alone. Stop being about the bush, Howard. The production is as underwhelming as the album itself. The second song in High Anxiety, or Anxiety, as it's pronounced constantly in the song, which does my fucking head in, because it's anxiety. It's not. Yeah. It's just fucking not. Okay. If you ever bump into anybody who says, yeah, I suffer from anxiety, punch them in the face. Okay. That's my example. Then there's a song called Distortion, which is now Distortion is about lies, and apparently lies distort the truth. Not sure if you're aware of that particular slab of genius there, but that's lyrically, and it's literally like, if the song's called High Anxiety, you're going to hear the phrase anxiety and high anxiety a good 10 or 15 times in that song. Then you're going to have a song called Distortion, and you're going to be hearing about distorted truth and lies distort the truth. You're going to hear that a good 10 or 15 times as well. You get smashed over the head constantly with the stick of lyrics, the word stick coming out.
To be fair, not to go back and beat this band up anymore, sounds like the lyrics on the new Exhorder album to me.
Oh man, that's so unfair. That is so unfair. But stop it. Stop it. You've had your time on Exhorder.
All right, all right.
Get on the Atrophy train.
Got
Right.
it. Atrophy. I haven't heard this album, but it's only because they're not a band that I know one of their albums and it's not amazing to me. It's just whatever. So,
well, what can I say other than the band name itself, Atrophy? Yeah, is incredibly descriptive of this album is atrophied, basically. Look it up, kids. Now everything you said about thrash earlier, like the fucking poster childs, well, the poster men for that, it just feels like. But it feels like a band coming back who just seem a little bit out of touch. Maybe, I don't know. I feel bad. I really do. I really do feel bad saying all of this because I know that there is people out there who'll be like, seriously, dude, seriously, I've heard your back catalogue. I've heard your last album. You know, it's shit. How dare you? I get that. If you're out there thinking that, you're right. Fine. I'm not going to argue with you. That's your opinion. Fine. And I do feel bad because because as much as Atrophy weren't my bag back in the day, I wanted them to be good. I wanted it to come back and go like, well, you know, hey, kids, the old men are coming back and kicking your asses again. Yeah. Raise your game. But it just feels like, it just feels like I feel bad.
Sadly enough, I felt that way about so many albums like that one, some that I was very much looking forward to. And because I'm so, I go out of my way to really not talk shit about things, that those albums come out and I just don't say anything about them. And I never once talked about that last Evil Dead album. I was so excited for Evil Dead coming back. And then I heard the album and I was like, okay. And then I just moved on with my life because I was just like, and it sucks that happens so often, but I think it's probably because, and I'm not doing this because you're here. It's because things like what Acid Rain did have set the bar kind of high enough to where it goes, look, this can happen with a band coming back. So when other bands do it, I kind of go, yeah, you could do better. So, you know.
Well, that is very kind of you. That is very kind of you. You know, I kind of, like I said, I'm going to say it again, I feel bad, but also at the same time, I have to be honest. And I could not review it. I could look the other way, you know. I could say I haven't heard it, but all of that would be lies. And honestly, if some of the lyrics weren't so, I'm not even going to say dumb, but kind of lazy, just like I said, you know, a song called Distortion, and it's about lies distort the truth, and it's delivered like it's some sort of fucking genius poetry or some incredible philosophy that the world has been missing. Look, you know, I like my, you know, lyrics are my thing. I'm a writer who could sing. You know, if somebody said you could never sing again, I'd be like, but I can still write. Be like, it's okay, I'll deal with that. But I think that's really what kind of poked at me to go, do you know what? I can't let this stand. I have to say something about this because you're grown men and you are old enough to know better. I guess that's maybe what was.
But that's not that. Like I said, that is a characteristic of not just these older thrash bands coming back, but even younger thrash bands. So much of the lyrics are exactly what you're talking about. Fucking Exodus did it on their last album. There's so many bands that just have those lyrics where it's so just like, Do you feel like this is clever? Because you're kind of saying the same sort of shit that like 500 other bands have already done. Some of them way more clever than you did it. And so it's just, it's become so much of a thing that it's hard for me to look past it now, because I'm just like, listen to your contemporaries and learn from their mistakes if you have to, because it's just, or not mistakes, because metal fans seem to eat that shit up. And so if it's working, why not do another song about how you can't trust anybody anymore, kind of thing. And I'm just like, well, duh.
my favorite, which everybody is guilty of, is the worn out concept of, oh, the earth, the planet is dying, Mother Earth needs our help. And it's like, you sanctimonious fucks, not only you're just scientifically arrogantly full of shit. The planet is not dying. Mother Earth does not need help. The planet has been here billions of years. You are confusing the optimum conditions for human life and the planet. The planet is not about human beings. We're just one of the many species that exist upon it that are managing to fuck it up more than others.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of species that have been around before us and been extinct. And there'll be plenty of species that will be around after us and become extinct. And we will become extinct. We're well on the way. And this idea that the planet needs help. No, it doesn't. The planet doesn't give a fuck if we live or die.
Yeah.
You've confused the planet with us being on the planet.
I think it's because a lot of bands, and this was that was a big deal in like the late 80s too.
Yes.
So many bands really want to use the phrase Mother Earth. They really, and refer to Earth as a her. Like that's the.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I mean, there are some bands I truly love with some songs that I truly love that do that kind of thing. But but nowadays I'm like, look, Nuclear Assault did it best. Just move on.
The last Creator album, Mila is guilty of doing it on the last Creator album.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, sorry. You can't have that anymore. You can't have the planet's dying and you can't have Mother Earth needs help or any of that, because that is scientifically incorrect. That is fucking bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is just wrong. So, you can't do it anymore. All right. Now, admittedly, lyrics along the lines of the planet's not dying, but the optimum conditions for human life are, it's not as snappy.
That's the brand new Acid Rain lyrics.
Fuck off, it's the album title.
Acid Rain's new album, The Optimum Conditions for Human Life, or whatever. That's actually not bad.
I'll going away. I'll becoming extinct. It's not catchy, is it, really? It's not catchy. No record label's going to say, yeah, we're okay with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still mad at that one band that ripped you guys off. What was that band we talked about that like had those almost a very similar album cover and title or something?
I was thinking of that only yesterday when I was listening to Atrophy, and I was thinking this is a band coming back after all these years, and they've got a clown on the cover. I'm sure Steve is going to say something, because basically, he got the hump about that band, album, and I couldn't remember it either.
I don't remember it either. But that band, so Atrophy gets away with it because they already had clowns on their albums before. So that's
if anything, we were ripping them off.
Yeah, you were. Although, like the weird thing about like the Age of Entitlement cover is I never looked at that as a clown. I don't know why it didn't look like a clown to me. It just looked like some sort of weird, like some evil henchman's kind of dude that just they paint their faces, and I don't know, it's just it seemed more like a weird, almost zombie-ish kind of thing to me.
It looks more like a member of Insane Clown Posse, really, than an actual clown. Fucking hell. Hey, here's a fascinating fact. Did you know that the world record for the amount of tattoos of one artist on one person is held by a lady in Aberdeen. And the artist that she has over 20 tattoos of his face on her body is Eminem. So there you go.
Shit, that is kind of frightening. I love Eminem, but that's frightening.
Can you imagine going on a date with that girl and she's going, like, oh, you know, are you into music? Yeah. Are you? Yeah. Do you want to know who my favorite artist is? It's all right, love. I think I've.
Yeah.
Oh, how did you know? We've got two of his face on your face.
Oh my God.
I mean, yeah, mad, right? Completely mad.
I
heard a quiz the other night, and it went in and stayed.
Yeah.
Went in my head, stayed there. So yeah.
I can't imagine getting a tattoo of a person. I mean, my wife has a pretty cool one. She got, because her favorite artist is Joni Mitchell, and she got this old portrait of Joni Mitchell done on her arm, and it looks really cool. That's the kind of one where I'm like, I get that, but like for some reason, when it comes to like rock music and hip hop, I just kind of go, why would you put? But then my brain goes, you know what? It would be awesome for me if I could just get Lars somewhere tattooed on me, and that'd really fuck with people. But it's got to be like, you know, mid 2010s balding Lars, where he hadn't grown his hair out again yet. That's what I'm gonna get.
And he has to be sat down. Yeah, he has to be sat down.
Okay, yeah.
Can't be stood up.
Whatever.
You know. By the way, I did see I think it was a reel on Instagram, and it was titled Hetfield Trolls Metallica Crowd with Harvester of Sorrow. And you know where it stops? And he goes, all have said that.
Yeah.
And it just all comes kicking back in. It stops, he takes a deep breath and then yawns and smiles. And then goes, and I was like, Jesus Christ. No, that's not trolling the crowd.
No.
That is doing the same thing he's been doing for 20 fucking years.
Yeah, there's always like sometimes he would hawk a loogie or something during that part,
By the way, for British listeners, that means cough up a greenie or just a big spit. You've just picked up some more English colloquialism there. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And the one that scuttles around is ones that scuttles away like Alien. If you spit it on the floor and it just keeps going. Where's it gone? It's gone under there. It's like, well, you know. No.
Hey, but yeah, you have to remember in this day and age with all the TikToking stuff, everyone's just trying to get views, and so the headline will say something that absolutely is not happening in the video, but whatever.
Oh yeah, I mean, and it's an official Metallica video. You know, it's clear. You know, it's the official Metallica social media department that has put that out there.
Oh, you know? Well, I need to have a word with them. That's lame. Way to come across as a bunch of boomers, guys.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, you know, old men trying to be, you know, trying to be fit in and say, hey, yeah, no, you're not trolling. No, not at all. So
yeah.
But hey, there you go.
Has there ever been an episode where we didn't fit in Metallica somehow?
Oh God! And for some reason, it's fucking me that does it.
And I'm never gonna argue. I'm just gonna be like, great. Yeah,
you've got your.
I said Lars. Yellow... I started with Lars. It's my fault. Fault.
That's true. You've got your yellow fucking, you know, 40 million seasons shopping bag hanging up in the door in the background.
It's a record. It's a record bag. That's why I like it.
Is it really? Is it a tote bag?
It's a tote bag, but it's the size that you can fit records inside of it.
It's the size you can fit Metallica records in, but nobody else's records will fit in it, just Metallica's.
No, yeah, I can't fit anything else in there. That's it.
Yeah,
but
cool.
To be fair, my wife bought that, and then I was like, it was just sitting on her desk for like months, and I went, can I just put that in my room? Because you're not using it.
To be fair, it looks really cool. Do you know what? So I've always wanted to ask you as well. Sorry, listeners. Okay, go and watch the video. You've got two doors behind you there.
One's a
Right
closet.
now, and yeah, no, but I like to think one's entrance and one's exit.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and it's just like if you open both, you could just run around, like just doing a circle, like a hamster on a wheel. You know,
Yeah,
it's like this is my keep fit. This is how I stay in shape.
I never thought about that because they are the same size door, really.
I
And
know it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. That's all.
yeah,
That's been playing in my brain. Just like just the image of you just going like like Wile E. Coyote, just
it's
looting.
no, like it'll be like a fucking Benny Hill episode, running around with half naked women running around after me.
Oh my god, that's ruined it for me. Benny Hill, it's funny as a fucking heart attack.
Sorry about that. I see. That's the weird thing is that like I started hearing all these things years ago where people were like Benny Hill wasn't funny. I'm like, did anybody ever think he was funny? Because
they did. They did. People will be listening to this, nay, viewing it, going, "Oh, that's absolute blasphemy." Benny Hill's a legend. No,
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Okay.
I mean, maybe if you were like, a young child at the time, Benny Hill would be funny. It's like, oh, look at that man who's relatively ugly and fat, and he's being chased by good-looking women, and it's got cartoon music on. I mean, I'm just cracking up at the thought of that right now. I mean, inside, obviously.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I watched Benny Hill when I was a kid, and even then, I thought it was dumb. So, I mean,
to be fair, I've just been very reductionist, which I always hate, when people just say, "Oh, football, it's just kicking a piece of leather around, kicking a pig's bladder around." And it's like, yeah, you can do that with anything, surgery. It's just cutting people up in it. For being a pilot, you're just a glorified coach driver in the sky. You can rip anything apart by being a reductionist. Yep. And so I take that back. I'm sure Benny Hill is absolute fucking genius. It's just I think it's shit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue with you, so we're good.
Oh, that's good. Well, no. Well, yeah, we're of the same opinion, so we can't have an argument.
Yeah.
And on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, on us failing to argue again. Sorry to let you all down. Seems like a good place to wish you all farewell. Thank you very much for listening and watching. Hello,
hello,
old head viewers, old head channel. Nice to be here. And we'll catch you again sometime when we get our old bollocks out again.
Yeah.